Hi, Alan Cox here. What if you could teach Purview to inspect sensitive information just like a human would? That's exactly what trainable classifiers do. And today I'm going to dive into how they're built, how we might use them, what they're for, how they're different from exact data match or custom sensitive information types that we've looked at in the past. And so that's going to be our topic today as we dive into trainable classifiers. Let's get started. All right, let's start off in learn.microsoft.com and let's talk about trainable classifiers, kind of learning about them here. So this categorization method is well suited for content that can't be easily identified using some sort of automated or pattern matched type method. This method is looking at what the file actually is and not by elements that are in the item, so a pattern match, right? It learns how to identify a type of content by looking at hundreds of samples of examples of the content you want to detect. So we have to do that 150 to 500 items in a SharePoint site that are positive matches as well as negative matches for what we're looking for. Now, in the example that we're going to be using, I'm going to be creating a custom trainable classifier that's basically going to be looking for evidence that someone may be getting ready to leave the organization. Maybe things that they're saying about dissatisfaction with the organization, open to work, looking for a change, those sort of things that we'll hone in on. But what we're going to do is we have a SharePoint site and we've got some positive matches, positive samples and examples of what we would want our trainable classifier to be looking for, and then negative examples as well. In other words, these files in particular don't have any, are negative for the type that we're looking for. In other words, they don't have anything in them that would lead someone to believe someone's looking or leaving the organization, etc. The reason this could be important, this use case, is because if you know that's the case, then maybe you want to track and do some insider risk, or maybe there's other things you might want to, crank up the DLP, keep an eye on things a little tighter, that sort of thing. Okay. Then I want to look over here at this PDF sheet that I have here that might help as well as we talk about sensitive information types. So we have these built-in types, right? And these built-in types are social security numbers. They have distinct patterns and bank routing numbers. They're very fast, easy to set up, covers most common compliance needs there. And then you've got custom sensitive information types where you can build types that are looking for a particular pattern you predefined. And then of course you have, and we define our own, through regex keywords, validations, tailored detections, etc. And then you have exact data match, which we just covered recently. When we want to match specific values from an authoritative data set. So this, we need high accuracy and we need to structure data. So customer ID, patient ID, those sort of things. And this is key because it'll matches only what's in the data set, so it definitely reduces false positive. Then we get to trainable classifiers. Sensitivity might depend on document context rather than just a single string or a pattern, right? Examples is underwriting summaries, claims, contracts, HR forms. Machine learning finds these patterns across an entire document better at context recognition. And so anyway, and then we got document fingerprinting, detecting known templates, forms if filled and modified. So very specific forms, document fingerprinting. We've not looked at that yet. We'll probably do something on that in the future. So without further ado, let's get to it. And so we're going to jump into purview.microsoft.com. We're going to go here to solutions, and then we're going to go down here to, we are going to go to information protection. Yes, information protection classifiers, and then trainable classifiers. Now we'll see we have all these classifiers that Microsoft has put in here, 114, and I believe these are all built in. None of them are created. They're all by Microsoft. You can sort that. There's none created by me. They're all ready to use. If we look at like something, we would determine that would be a credit report. We've got example files here, but retention labels, detect, that's where we can use these. But a statement that description, a statement that informs about individual, organization, credit activity, and current credit situation, etc. So, but this is a trainable classifier that's ready to use. These are, again, 114 of them all built in by, built in and done by Microsoft. So let's listen to a trainable classifier. And this trainable classifier that I'm going to do here, I'm going to do maybe employee job searching here. Maybe that's kind of what we want to hone in on. Maybe the employees, we get a feeling that they're looking, that they're maybe maybe a foot out the door, and give it a meaningful description here. But we're going to move on here and go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to choose positive sample context, where the files that we have that, and this is where it can get tricky and tough to demo this. But I do have a I do have a SharePoint site here, and I've actually got a SharePoint site here basically with some positive examples here, and we are going to, I believe that's it there. Let me see. Yeah, so let's jump in here. Okay, I believe that's it. So we're going to, so that particular site has positive examples, and it's just got tons of examples of indications, of variety of files here. And I literally had Copilot just create these for me, and so. But those are where we're getting our positive. So in other words, these are matches for what we're targeting. So all of these files are going to contain something in them that would lead someone to potentially believe someone might be looking to leave the organization. So let's just pop into one of these just to see what it says, because I've not really looked at these. But here's an example. Recently, we have been researching companies grow. I believe it's important to stay informed about industry trends. While I value my current role, I'm curious about positions that align with long-term goals. So kind of an indication that this somebody wrote that in an email or a document or somewhere to, might give some indication that they might be looking to leave. And so do we need to kind of keep an eye on things, maybe do some insider risk to make sure that data's not getting exfiltrated out somewhere else? So we just need to keep an eye on that. So we're going to go to source of positive samples, and then we're going to provide some negative examples here. And I do have tons of files here that have negative, almost exactly the same thing here, where they do these files don't have any reference to anybody, so these are probably just standard files. Now I am curious because could see if we've got some negative examples here. I'm just going to throw one of these up. I've not looked at it honestly. I just had these auto-generated, and this should just be pretty not really a whole lot going on there. So, okay, fine. So this, anyway, so we have negative examples of what we want our trainable classifier to hone in on, basically saying these are type of examples that would not trigger this this custom trainable classifier. So we're going to review, and we're going to create this trainable classifier. Now, it does take some time for it to actually go through and sync up and do everything that it needs to do from a syncing across the environment. We saw that it's being trained right now. So it's kind of learning off of what we've given it. It's not learning off of anything else other than what we've given it, but it does take some time. Now, if we were going to go here and we were going to sort this, let's see what we got here. We have 115 items now. Notice I'm going to drop down to the bottom and see. So we have employee job searching. This is in progress right now. If we were to pop into that, we can see some information about the where we're gathering our negative as well as our positive information, or examples, I guess, if you will. Now, so employee job searching. So now if I were to go to play that to an insider risk, or let's just do a data loss prevention, and we were going to go in and we were going to create a new data loss prevention. We'll see if this shows up now. And it may not fully work because it's not fully trained on all that data. But if I'm going to go in here and create a new policy, and I'm just going to create a custom policy here, and let's just do next. And then here, let's just do employee job searching DLP. We might give it a custom or a good description here as well. And so based on this, just like anything else, we can go in. We're not going to do any admin units at this point. So if I were to just say, okay, I don't need all of this stuff here, but we're going to go here. And now I'm going to say, I'm going to create this rule. I'm going to create a rule, and we'll just call it okay, and a condition here, and we can say content contains, and just like everything else, we can now trainable classifiers. So we can click this trainable classifier, and we will see if ours is in there. Employee doesn't look like it's there yet because it's not been fully trained. Yeah, so but that is where we would go in and add our trainable classifier once it shows up. I'll just pick one here for now, because at this point, once we pick our trainable classifier, which is employee job searching, or something to that effect, or searching jobs, whatever it was, then we can go in and from that point, we can go in and create this as any other DLP policy or insider risk policy or anything else. It's all the same from there. We're just using the sensitive information type that we want. In this case, it's just a instead of a regular custom or sensitive information type, we're using trainable classifiers. But the rest of it follows suit exactly the way we did there. So I'm just going to take one more quick peek at this information protection here, our trainable classifiers, just to kind of see where this is, because again, it can take some time to completely train in on the data, but that's it. That's our trainable classifiers, how we set them up, and that's how we apply them to, in this case, a DLP policy. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.